Yo, what's up? My name is Blessing, and this is, of course, OK Beast. First of all, thank you so much for checking out the video. This week is a very, very crazy week here at OK Beast because it is E3 week, and with E3 comes a lot of crazy game announcements, a lot of crazy news. And so because of that, OK Beast is approaching our content differently this week. This week, we're having articles, videos, and podcasts up every single day covering all the different announcements, and on the YouTube channel we're also posting our podcasts. Usually podcasts only go up on okbeast.com or on iTunes, but because this week is such a big week and it's such a special week, we want to treat you guys to our podcast right here on youtube.com/okbeast. Hope you enjoy the podcast. This is something different, something new we're trying out, so if you like them, let us know what you think, and of course stay tuned to OK Beast. Until next time, enjoy the podcast.
What is going on, everybody? You are listening to OK Beast, or you might be watching OK Beast if you're on YouTube. This is our day one of our E3 reaction shows. I'm very excited. Today we're going to be recapping EA, we're going to be recapping the Xbox conference as well as the Bethesda conference. I'm Alex Van Aken, one of your hosts, and today I'm joined by Blessing Adeoye Jr. What is going on?
Yo, what's up?
Hey, we are also joined by Brandon Wilson, my stepfather. Hello.
Hello, sir.
And rounding us out, one of my favorite people in the world. I love him so much. It's Sean Capri from We the Nerdy. Hello, Sean.
Oh, it's so nice. I'll round you guys out whenever you want.
How are you doing, guys? Are we excited?
Dude, I'm tired. I'm like for real exhausted after what was it, EA, Microsoft, and Bethesda.
Yeah.
Like the amount of stuff they showed has me actually like sweating.
I let out so many like woos today. It's not even funny. I was at one point I like screamed and Kayla texted me. She's like, "Can you be quiet?" I was so excited. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff to roll through. Just in case you didn't know, we have podcasts going out this week every day. We have articles on okbeast.com, and we have videos, analysis videos, opinion videos, podcast. These shows that you're listening to going up on youtube.com/okbeast. So keep up with all the coverage. And yeah, let's get started, guys. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of ground to cover. Let's start with EA Play. So EA Play was yesterday, Saturday, the 9th. They started off kind of the E3, the round of E3 conferences. They had, how do we feel about the conference overall? It was A, B, C?
Very expectedly bad.
Sure.
Like
yeah.
it wasn't a good conference, but it wasn't worse than last year, I don't think. I think it was just like it was right where it should be for an EA conference.
Sure, yeah. I enjoyed a lot of the games that were shown, even though there weren't a ton compared to some of the other conferences. But what they did show, there are several that I'm really excited about. Sean, how about you, man? How are you feeling about EA Play?
I was saying to Mr. Bad, but Joseph Moran, as we were streaming the Bethesda show just a moment ago, that I feel like it's just like this automatic, just because we've been training ourselves to hate on EA so much. It's like, it's just automatic hate. But I honestly enjoyed my time watching it. Like, there really wasn't a whole lot offensively bad about it, in my opinion. I think the thing that saved it was the Anthem deep dive at the end. I thought that was really clever, the way that they showed us the trailer, and then they did great discussion with some of the brightest people making games today. And I like the way that they were they publicly ate some humble pie for Battlefront 2. Yeah. So, man, there's a lot to love there. I know it's really easy to just hate on them. Unravel 2 is really cool that's happening again. Sea of Solitude. I don't know if we're going into stuff here, but I want to call them out. I thought they did a great job. I think that they addressed one of their biggest criticisms, which was having YouTube people come up and screw things up. They have Andrew Renee there, and she was amazing.
Yeah, she did great.
I thought it was better than the last couple of years.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Brandon, how are you feeling overall in the conference?
I don't know. I kind of felt like it lacked a little meat. Like I kind of expected more, but overall, I don't think they did. I don't think they did horrible. I think they did pretty well.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Sean. Like, the Anthem stuff kind of really redeemed the show for me. They kind of lost me a bit during the esports stuff and the Madden stuff. Then again, I'm not a big Madden fan. But yeah, let's get into these announcements. We're no really particular order. I will link to the recap that we're going to use for today's show in the show notes. Let's talk about Anthem first, because I feel like Anthem it's for me maybe game of the show right now. It is, if you're unaware, it is a shared open world RPG third person action game is how I would describe it. I know there's a lot of comparisons to Destiny, even though I don't necessarily agree with that. Blessing, I know going into it, you didn't really care about Anthem, but now I know you've texted me, you've been talking to me. This display, this showing has you really excited now.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like it's a shared world shooter, right? Which is like the only thing that it has in common with Destiny. Like it does the thing of trying to stray those two genres of being an action shooter and also being kind of MMO-ish.
Sure.
And yeah, before EA Play, I wasn't. It's not that I didn't think it was going to be good. Like I thought it was going to come out and be fine and all that stuff, but there was nothing about it particularly that was making me hype for it. Like there was nothing about it that was like, oh, this is awesome, I need to get this. Like this is my type of game. Like nothing about it said that to me.
Sure.
And I think this EA Play was the first time I saw that game and I was like, okay, this looks dope. And mainly what it is the aesthetic. Like it is the mechs, it is like the suits, like the Iron Man looking suits all look dope. The different ways you can customize your characters, it looks like there's gonna be tons of different gameplay styles with the different suits. That looks super cool to me. The flying looks super cool to me. The environments look super cool to me. I wish they were a bit more concise toward the end, because they spent 20 minutes in total talking about it and showing it off and all this stuff. And I mean, it makes sense for them to spend that much time with it, because it is like their big thing they want to show. It seems like they want it to be their big franchise going forward. And that you can very much see them putting that energy behind it. But for a conference, for the conference audience, for the people that are watching this, I think people kind of want something more concise. They want something like what the Xbox conference was, or what PlayStation's conference was in previous years, where it's trailer, necessary information. Don't there are times during when they were doing that whole interview thing, when Andrea Renee was interviewing the devs, and they started pulling questions from Twitter, which were very obviously like fake questions, right?
Sure.
Some of that stuff.
Well, they were just the best ones. They were like pretty obvious questions that they would answer anyways.
And like it was the point where they started showing loops that were like obviously planned for those questions, and I'm like, okay, well, these are obvious like. Either you knew what questions you wanted to get, or these are fake questions. Either way, I as a viewer, I felt kind of insulted by it, but
oh wow,
not enough for it to like taint my idea of the game or anything. Like just as a viewer of a conference, I'm like, come on, guys, I'm smarter than this. Like you guys kind of got to respect my intelligence here.
That didn't really bother me at all. Like I like the deep dive. I enjoyed I actually was going into this, I was wanting that extended demo. Because I'm so curious about the world, and we kind of got new lore tidbits, like the gods were creating this planet. It's not Earth, it's just some planet, and like halfway through the creation cycle they left, and then they left behind the tools of creation.
Is that why you're coming to this game though?
Huh?
Is that why you're coming to this game though, to learn about how the gods created the planets? And
absolutely.
I don't think anybody's coming to I think the thing that's pulling me to this game is, one, the aesthetic and the look and like the mechs and all this stuff.
Yeah,
that stuff looks cool. And then like playing with your friends. Like I think the thing that's pulling me to this game is the gameplay. It is like, because I'm the same person who, when I play Destiny, I couldn't care less about the story in Destiny. So maybe there's people that like the story in Destiny and care about that a lot.
I think this world just seems way more intriguing to me than Destiny's. Like I'm not here like, oh man, I can't wait to see the story. I'm very much there for the gameplay, like you, but the world seems so much fun to explore, and like they give you tools to do that. Like you can fly, you can go underwater. Like I'm just excited to see what like
exploring
environments and
exploring the environments themselves. Yeah, seems interesting to me.
Sure.
Just like the this being a multiplayer game and being like MMO-ish but not quite makes me think that like this they're going to try and make story a big part of this game. I have my doubts that they'll be able to succeed with that, but I'm fine with them not succeeding with
I
that.
feel like
at the
because
same
it's
time.
BioWare, that's the one thing that they are absolutely going to succeed at. That it's the other side for me that isn't quite as a given.
Sure.
So when I remember when Destiny was first announced, I was like, yes, this is Mass Effect with my friends, and like a lot. I don't know if you guys remember thinking that, but I remember that being a heavy part of the narrative. And then we were very disappointed when it just felt empty. We were just going from location to location, shooting things, and then we've come to learn to like that, to love Destiny for what it is. I'm really excited to see this, to have like the thing that people love about it's shocking how much people love the lore and all like when you get into a BioWare game, it's like this story and universe has been created forever and ever and ever. Like you've known it as somehow in the back of your mind, like a fable that was invented and created like 200 years ago. So that's what I think the magic of BioWare is. And that's why I think that this is like my number one game of the show. I was looking forward to seeing more of it at Xboxes. And then I also want to just quickly touch on one point. Blessing, you're talking about how the cadence of Xbox's show and what we can expect from Sony and everybody else, they're going to be different. And I think that I just want to call this out because I want to make it okay, honestly, for the publishers to go into these deep dives into the game, find out a little bit more. But for the console, for the platforms, those are the ones that have to be snappy. Like I needed information. We'll get to Bethesda in a little bit. I needed information on Anthem to really get excited because all we had before this was a dev diary from God knows how long ago, last year's brief introduction to it.
Sure,
and then
yeah.
The teaser that we had that was like 9 seconds long previous to this, I needed more information on this and I got it. And so I feel satisfied.
Yeah, I was satisfied with it too. I just felt like it could have been a bit, like they could have cut out a few more things.
I won't argue that. Sure.
Yeah.
You can tighten it up maybe a little bit,
and
but I don't want
I'm also with
snappy
you
for that.
I'm also with you that like I feel like people like to dogpile a little bit when it comes to certain publishers, especially EA.
Yep.
And some of it's deserved.
Yeah,
Some of it is overkill. But yeah, like there's I don't know what it is about the way they formulate their conference. Like even the stuff that should, and we'll get to this stuff in a second. I'm sure we're about to move on, but like some of the stuff like the EA originals, which should be the point of the show, where you're like, oh, okay, they're bringing out cool, like unique looking things. They're bringing out Sea of Solitude, which looks really cool. They're bringing out like last year was A Way Out and like in Fee and in all those games, right? Like this time around, there's something about their presentation that makes me not as sold on it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the people they're bringing out. I don't know if it's like the way they're reading the teleprompters. I don't know what it is, but like this time around where they're talking about Sea of Solitude, right? Up until when the girl was talking about it, when she was talking about it, I thought that was awesome. But like when they're introducing all this stuff, I was like, okay, you guys are doing your song and dance. You're getting your 2 EA originals out for the year. You're getting your mobile game, Command and Conquer. You're doing
Did you
it
think
felt
Unravel 2 was still EA original? Like I was wondering if they like bought something or something. Like is it still the same deal, do you think?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think they said anything. I've kind of looked afterwards to see if sometimes they like put that news out after, if they don't have time in the show. I didn't see anything about it, but I thought it was interesting that we did get Unravel 2. And before we get to Unravel 2, Brandon, Anthem, real quick, are you excited? Are you part of the fan club that is forming?
Yeah, I think I'm probably most excited about the fact that they specifically called out that, hey, you can still play it solo. So like I sometimes have trouble like finding good groups that I can play in often. And
sure.
So I'm pretty stoked about still being able to enjoy the game solo. And also like the idea of having being able to play multiple different types of classes based on whatever suit that I'm wearing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Off of one character. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I got like a lot of like Armored Core vibes from the flying, even though those games are totally different. Yeah. But I did get those vibes. It's like, oh, this is bringing back stuff. And like the fact, like these classes feel so much more dynamic than Destiny does to me. Like Destiny, everybody has guns, everybody has grenades, everyone has melee. The really things that is different is some subtle stuff, your jump, your ultimate. But I feel like overall, like it's the same experience. Whereas this, like you see the Colossus, he's like walking through a minefield with a shield out. He's got a flamethrower. Then there's there's the other guys that are zooming around. It just feels like way more dynamic to me. But sorry, Bless, what were you gonna say real quick?
I was gonna say I think it's really cool that you can change classes between missions. I think that was a really cool thing. And yeah, like just the variety they showed in the mechs, in the suits, just like blew me away. Like that, I think that's the thing for sure that took this game from being like just another game for me to then being like one of my games of show, being one of the games where I was like, okay, I'm getting this day one.
For sure, yeah. All right, let's talk. I know we started talking about Unravel 2. Sean, what were we going to say about that game? I know you were curious if they had acquired that studio. I don't think they have. Are you excited for the game? Were you a fan of Unravel 1?
You know, I'm excited and I just want to see it progress. I'm glad developers are getting a second chance at things too. I think that especially for like a newcomer, we got very excited by the story, and that was one of the most memorable moments in E3 history. I truly feel, even to this day, we all remember the nervous guy coming out with the shaky hands, holding his Yarny, of course, and that's
very
like
wholesome.
So now it's sort of like it almost feels pandering. I think to Blessing's point, we're like, okay, now this is another nervous dev who like it's almost like are they coaching them along to be nervous? And that's not. I don't think that, but it's you could almost see people like wondering, like now here comes the trembling new dev. But I'm excited. Like I think it's the new twist on it is interesting enough to have me going, yeah, I'll definitely check this out. If it was, if it looked like more of the same, I probably wouldn't. But the co-op nature is like, I wanted to share Unravel with Chelsea. So I'm glad that this is going to be an opportunity for me to do that with the second one.
Yeah.
Do we have confirmation on whether or not the co-op is online?
I don't think it is.
I've heard that it was local only.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Because that was the thing when I saw the trailer for Unravel 2. I was like, okay, having co-op could be like that could be the game changer because it looked cool with like all the connected stuff.
Yeah.
But like after the conference, there came articles saying that it was local only, which totally ruined that for me because I don't have anybody I'm gonna play Unravel with. Yeah,
just fly on over.
Yeah.
I can drive to Canada.
I like one of the things I like about Unravel so much is just its aesthetic, like that photorealism. It just captures me every time. And I'm hoping, I probably won't play it. Maybe we play it at Extra Life or something. I feel like co-op could be the thing, that added element that really changes the experience. So I don't know. I really want to like it. I like looking at it for sure. So I hope it plays well. We kind of mentioned it earlier. Sea of Solitude is another EA published indie game.
Yeah, another EA original.
Yeah, an EA original. And you're kind of like, what is this game? Like you're zooming around on a boat. You're fighting monsters of the deep. You're like on rooftops of like this Venice-looking city. Do we know anything outside of that?
Honestly, I have no idea. Like,
they were commenting about how like the monsters are like the other side of you, like based on I don't know your attitudes or the more solitude that you get, the more likely the monster is to come out. I don't know, something to that effect.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued for sure.
I'm intrigued because the art style looks really cool. I like how dark it looks. The only thing that makes me nervous is that it is an EA original, and I know this is like this seems unfair, and I apologize to the dev because I'm sure like they're working very hard on this. I don't mean to paint with a broad stroke, but like with the last EA originals, A Way Out, Fee, Unravel. I don't know if there's any more. I think that's it.
Those are the most recent ones, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can think of.
But like A Way Out was pretty great. I really loved A Way Out.
I really
but the other
loved A Way
two
Out.
were like were fine games. Like they weren't really like critically acclaimed by any means. And I feel like a company with like EA has the resources to like either give support or like I don't know, have a keen eye to like be like, okay, this dev is working on something really cool. Like we see that, we can identify it, and we can identify devs that are like, I don't know, like putting in work on really interesting, really cool games. Not to say that Fee or Unravel aren't like cool games, but it's just weird that their attempt to do the cool thing and to be that personable company and to be like, hey, we're not all just corporate here. We're reaching out and doing cool things with indie devs. It's weird that those games come out and they come out as like 7s, right?
Sure.
Rather than 8s or 9s, That being said, I really hope that this game's awesome, and I really hope it comes out and is cool, because it looks cool to me. And if it comes out and if it gets great reviews, I'll for sure play it.
Yeah. Sean, are you a Battlefield 5 fan? I know Brandon is, and we'll get to you in a second, Brandon. Sean, are you interested in Battlefield 5 at all?
I'm stoked, man. But when it showed up at the Microsoft stage, I was like, that's all I need to see. I don't really need to know much about this.
Sure,
I will probably be playing this with EA Access. I'll be getting my 10-hour trial, and like that's sort of like all I need to know. But I'm stoked, man. I don't have any of the hate for this game that everybody else has got. I absolutely love the way that Battlefield is telling stories, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what they do with this one, man. So I'm not as much into the multiplayer, but it's weird. I find it strange how weird everybody's being about Battle Royale. Like, why don't we know more about this stuff? It seems like for a while there, I'm like, did they actually say that? Like, I actually almost had to go back. Like, did they say Battle Royale? So, like, why aren't we making a bigger deal? To me, I think that screams that this is so last minute in every way.
It is. Yeah.
This is absolutely reactionary to Fortnite and PUBG and everything. So, it's just not ready yet. So it'd be interesting to see what shape it all comes out with. Not only this, but also Call of Duty.
Yeah, and I'm curious because Battlefield, of all of the mainstream shooter games, I feel like Battlefield is the most. They have the framework to be most ready for a Battlefield, but for a Battle Royale game.
Obviously, yeah. Totally.
They have the map scale, they have the player count. They've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
So it is weird that they haven't jumped on this sooner, or at least seemingly, because like you said, it felt like why haven't we seen, like they had it at their reveal event. They mentioned, or they didn't mention it, but they had an opportunity to. They had E3. They mentioned it in word only.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of weird to me. Like you said, I don't know. I'm not really too worried about it because I'm confident they can pull it together, but I am skeptical if we will see it at launch.
Well, now that I mention it all, like it does seem like, what is the identity? Like we know the setting, we know the time frame, we know that it's sort of like playing around a little bit with what actually happened. But I really want, like, I feel like this is a really great opportunity for EA and for Battlefield and for DICE to go, this is the definitive, like, single player experience for a first person shooter. Like Call of Duty is bowed out. They're not in it anymore, or at least not for Black Ops. I can imagine that this will become a trend. I would just really like to see for them to be like, this is how you do it. And this is what you've been missing all along, because I loved what they did last year, the year before, Battlefield 1, amazing stuff. So yeah, I just really like them to own that, but it seems like we're just talking about stuff, and that's how I feel they presented Battlefront as well. We're just talking about things, and I don't really have like a real concrete grasp on what is this game, and that sucks.
Yeah. Brandon, I know you are a huge Battlefield fan. We both love Battlefield 1 and both its campaign and multiplayer. Are you stoked by what you've seen from Battlefield 5 so far?
Yeah, and Sean touched on it already. I one of the biggest pieces for me for Battlefield 1 that really gave it the sense of being epic are those stories. Like instead of trying to paint a broad stroke and this is a war game and you just go out and blow stuff up, it really told the story in people's eyes. And I hear a lot of people talking about, they're upset that there, obviously several women in Battlefield 5, and that wasn't like, period accurate and that sort of thing. And I don't know. I just think
it's all the Kingdom Come Deliverance fans.
I just don't think that's really relevant. It may not be 100% accurate, but
neither was Battlefield 1.
Right, and if it tells a good epic story, just like Battlefield 1 did, then I don't think we're any worse for the wear.
Sure, yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, I'm eager to see it.
I will say that I think during both presentations. During the EA presentation and during Microsoft today, I was really hoping that Battle Royale wasn't going to come out of this, but I guess it's inevitable at this point. But yeah, I was just hoping on hope that it wasn't going to come out. Really? I just didn't want Battle Royale out of Battlefield. Like I wanted Battlefield to stick to its core.
I mean, I think you're still going to get the core.
Yeah.
But you're also going to get Battle Royale or whatever.
I don't even think we needed that, though. Like,
I think
I don't know.
I'm out of the AAA shooters. Like, I'd rather have Battlefield Royale than Call of Duty, I think. I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out.
Wait till Red Dead, man. Red Dead Royale is about to be real.
Overwatch Royale, man. That makes me excited. Let's get into the EA Sports really quick. I know some of us here might be Madden fans, FIFA fans, NBA Live fans, maybe.
I like FIFA, but
FIFA's good.
It's the
they
same.
No NHL, so I'm personally offended as a Canadian.
Yeah,
I definitely played Madden, but
have they stopped making NHL?
No, it's still going. I was really expecting them to finally have that single player story mode thing that they've done with everything else.
Yeah,
that I thought that they would have, but I've always made the mistake of predicting stuff for NHL, and then they do it during like the hockey awards. Like that's when you hear more about it. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean it looks like more sports games.
Yeah.
I know trophies. You can win trophies this year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, UEFA trophy. Exactly.
And then lastly, I mean, we don't really have to touch on this unless you guys want to. There's some Battlefront 2 DLC that's coming out. I think like some free updates. Titanfall dev Respawn announced their own Star Wars game.
That was the worst part of the show.
That's what I was going to say. Like, don't forget the Star Wars Jedi Dark Order, Fallen Order, which was
Jedi Order. Maybe I don't know.
It was the worst possible way to announce that game because that game should have been the coolest part of that conference.
Yeah,
it somehow became the most awkward, and like I don't know whose fault it is. I don't think it's Andrea's fault. I don't even think it's Vince's fault. I think it is. I just think somebody, whoever was organizing the conference should have known not to do it like that.
Yeah, because like it totally felt like they were making stuff up on the fly. Like,
I saw a tweet saying that Vince was actively pitching the game during the stream.
Yeah, the game wasn't concrete until after the conference. But like, I don't know why they didn't just put a logo on screen. I feel like that would have been the easiest thing to do. Like, it's not like they haven't done that before. Like,
it's still focus testing.
A couple years ago, they showed like pre alpha gameplay for Visceral's game, and like I don't know why they couldn't just show, especially if it's out next year. Like, it is good. It's a good time to show just a logo, especially if you have the name of the game. It's confusing, and I don't understand why they went that route. But sure, why not?
Yeah,
because as of like 2 months ago, it was a Han Solo like single player campaign, and they had to scrap that because nobody likes the movie, so they just changed it. But if like everybody gets really mad at like the logo reveals of like Metroid that we've seen in the past, and like if people are that bad at that, what is like we don't even have a reaction for this, the name of it, and like we have a hard time remembering it. Like it's not even I don't
people
think
are like, is it gonna be called Star Wars? Is there gonna be Star Wars in the title at all? Like people don't know.
Andrea said it, but he didn't. Like I feel like she knew better than Vince did. Like she's such a professional that man, we're talking about this too much.
It's so weird how they did it, and I don't understand. It should have been the coolest thing, but they screwed it up.
Yeah.
Let's get into what is by far, in my opinion, the best conference that we've seen so far this week.
Wait, we didn't talk about Command and Conquer.
Oh,
jeez, come on.
That's the thing. That's the thing that brings this whole conference down for me, as far as EA, is that they don't know
we're really talking
what's
about
appropriate.
This? Oh.
Yes, I'm talking about this. They don't know what's appropriate.
With Bethesda later too, because we can get into that.
Yeah, Bethesda was a bit of a bummer to me. Like we'll get to it also because like I just hate when publishers or whoever's coordinating these conferences aren't aware of what people are looking forward to in these conferences. Like I know they're speaking to multiple people, right? They're speaking to their platform to their is it platform holders?
Like stakeholders.
Yeah, they're speaking to the people who are investing in their company. They're speaking to a lot of people, right? And so they can't just be making a conference for me because there's more people outside of this who are watching this conference besides me, right? But like, why are they doing shoutcasting over Command and Conquer for like 10 minutes? I had
bad shoutcasting.
Blessing went up and did his laundry.
Yeah, I got up and I did laundry and I came back and it was still going on. And there is no excuse in a press conference made to market your games and market your platform and market you. Like, there's no reason for you guys to do that. Like, I understand the sports stuff. I understand like all the other stuff, right? That much time on Command and Conquer was baffling to me.
I wonder if it's a big money source. Like I wonder if they're expecting because expecting to be like a mobile whale. Yeah,
like show that off somewhere it matters. Sure. It doesn't matter here.
Sure. All right, can we get into the Xbox stuff? Because
I'm trying to download Command and Conquer.
Oh no!
Is it free?
Live reactions.
I can't find it
from the show.
I'm sorry, Alex.
Xbox. How are we feeling on Xbox, guys? Because I was so happy. Like I had a smile on my face. I had so many moments where I like was screaming. I was so happy. How did you guys feel about the conference? Sean, Bless, go ahead real quick.
I was gonna say, I think this is the best possible case scenario for an Xbox conference. I don't think it could have been any better than this, unless they had like the Rocksteady game there, like some extra games. But like really, like I think this is the best case scenario, considering where Xbox is at, as far as being a platform and all that stuff. I think coming out and saying, "Hey, we've acquired 5 studios, including Playground, and Undead Labs, and Ninja Theory," which is really cool for Xbox. Kind of pisses me off because I love playing Ninja Theory games on my PlayStation, but it's whatever. Doing that, coming out with a bunch of third-party games, coming out with Halo and Gears, like I think they knocked it out of the park as far as doing what they needed to do and communicating that, like, "Hey, there's a future for this platform, but we're also taking care of you guys now." That was a really cool thing. And so, shout out to
Sean, I know that you are a huge Xbox fan. You host the Xbox Drive, which is a podcast everyone should listen to. How did you feel?
I feel like Phil just walked out at the start with just this swagger, and you knew looking at his face that he had a show up his sleeve that you guys need to buckle in for. And like, in addition to the games themselves, I feel like I always equate sort of the E3 showcases to wrestling drama, just like, oh, I can't believe he did that. Like, it's the drama and the moves that everybody's doing behind the scenes to line up these announcements. That's what I get so excited about, of like who's showing up where. So for me, in addition to all these other things, Battletoads is back. But to see Bethesda continue to support Xbox and be on their stage with Fallout 76, to see CD Projekt Red show up on their stage, and then like the Kingdom Hearts and From Software's on their stage, like these things that should not be on Xbox's stage, totally make up for the lack of in my mind, the lack of immediate and urgent first party stuff that's going to be coming out anytime soon. So this is to me when we're drawing up, when we're like doing predictions and all these things, like what does Xbox need to do? It's like rely on those third parties. Like that's what I loved about my 360, was not necessarily the exclusives, although they were great. It was just, I could just, whatever I wanted to play on my 360, that's what I played. And this was the first sign that we're getting back to that. Some solid world premieres. I thought that was the coolest thing, was for them to own the first time you're going to see some of these games. So overall, I have absolutely no complaints. I was streaming over at youtube.com/WeTheNerdy, and it was crazy. People were keeping track of like how many like great games were announced, and it started at like 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, like on and on and on. And we're like, we haven't got a miss for a long time. So really, really strong conference. And a lot of just like irrational. Everybody I was watching it with had their own holy crap moment, and that's the coolest thing.
To even piggyback off of that, like when it comes to the whole PlayStation versus Xbox thing, and like even this far into the console generation, it doesn't matter as much as it does in the beginning with generation. But like even now, right? PlayStation releases all their exclusive games in the spring because they know in the fall people are going to get third-party games on the platform, because like there are so many PlayStation owners out there that people associate third-party with PlayStation, right? And so for Xbox to come out with such a strong third-party lineup and show strong partnerships, show Cyberpunk, show Devil May Cry 5 is a crazy thing to have.
That's nuts.
Yeah, like that's nuts. Kingdom Hearts, like to have such an amazing third-party lineup at their conference shows that they're trying to reclaim that space in such a strong way. I expect to see like in the fall on TV commercials, you know, after maybe not Kingdom Hearts, but after certain commercials, you're going to see an Xbox at the end of the commercial to have that advertised. I think they absolutely know what they're doing, and they know what they need to do, and they're absolutely doing it. So shout out to that.
Yeah. Brandon, what do you think about the conference overall?
Very meaty. much meatier than EA. Like I really expected a lot more from EA. I guess I was expecting some new stuff to be announced that I just didn't feel like I got. But you know, you guys have already talked about it. They definitely have been listening, and they tapped into the things that they knew that have been pain points over the last year, and
for sure,
and it's there.
All right, let's get into it. They started it off with a banger. Halo Infinite was announced. This is the first moment. This is the first time I screamed. I was not expecting Halo at the start. It starts off, there's kind of like this B-roll footage of like wildlife and crash sites and like drones under the ocean. And then you see these like dudes and like totally new art style, like very saturated. Looks way different for Halo in my opinion. And then it comes up and you see Master Chief's helmet, and then it pans up and you're on a new Halo.
Some people were saying it looks like a throwback to old Halo. I don't know Halo, but does that sound
very
accurate?
much, the structures that you see very much reminded me of Halo CE. It looked like the original Warthog was there. We really don't know anything about this game. Halo Infinite, according to Phil Spencer, he said Master Chief is on his greatest adventure yet to save humanity. That's literally all that's been said. Sean, how you feeling?
I feel like this is maybe earlier on in the timeline because Master Chief's legs look kind of skinny, man. That zoom out on it. What can you say? This is just a little bit more than a logo reveal.
Pretty much.
I don't know anything about it. I'm excited Halo is in our near future. It does seem to make sense that they would take a break from the mainline stories, that we would just like let 6 gestate. I feel like we've been hearing a lot about 343 Industries just trying to figure out what to do with that game.
Yeah.
So I would have been, this whole time, everybody's really predicting Halo 6. I would have been shocked if we're getting a mainline game. I don't think that's what this is. So I'm glad we have, and we'll get into it too, just across the board at all E3 so far. I'm shocked at how soon we're getting sequels to games that seem like they should take longer. Like in Bethesda's, like with Fallout and with Wolfenstein and all these other things. It makes me happy, but holy crap, I really hope they're ready. I just hope that it's not being rushed. That's where I'm at with this.
Did they show a date or a time frame?
No, it's just a thing.
Just did they say 2019?
No, nothing.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
so
it
it's not
feels
coming
like
out this
we're
year,
on
then.
like this race
That's
to
crazy.
the end of the console generation, and they're just like getting out. These are the games you're going to see. Halo 6 isn't going to be on this console. It's going to be on the next one, which is something we've been predicting.
It has to be. Yeah,
So
that's the smartest move.
I have a couple of questions for you guys then. Since I'm not a Halo person, so I don't have any insider knowledge. So 2 things. What does the word infinite mean? Do you guys think this is going to be a platform kind of thing? Do you guys think it's going to be battle royale? Like what does infinite mean for this Halo game?
When I think of the word infinite, I think something, almost like it calls to mind like Master Chief Collection in a way, but which doesn't make sense on this console because we already have it. Although it's not in the greatest, it doesn't run the best, but it feels something like there was Halo Online back in the day, which was kind of like a mashup. I feel like, and it was like strictly online. I don't know if that's what we're getting. And they even said he's on his greatest adventure yet to save humanity. So I feel like there is a focus on single player based on what they've said. What do you think, guys? Brandon and Sean?
Yeah, I'm the same as you, man. Sorry to jump in. It's always weird. Like, who's going to talk next? Yeah, because I have no idea if it's gonna, like, I actually don't know if I want to see them expand outwards in the Halo world. I don't want to see just another single player campaign. Like I talked about with Battlefield, like they found a new way to tell stories, and I would really like for 343 to be like the leading edge on how to experience a first person shooter, sort of like what like Bungie's got, like what they're doing, whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
So I want something more than just a whatever it is.
Maybe
10
like a
15 hour
collection of
campaign.
side stories.
Yeah, that'd be cool,
series
man.
of
I like the
vignettes.
vignettes. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and that would kind of go along with Infinite, like maybe not a cohesive singular story, but like all these moments that make up Master Chief's history. I don't know. That's
actually a good idea.
So
Yeah,
what
I
about
like that.
what about battle royale? That was my second question. Do you guys think this game is going to have a battle royale mode?
I hope this game doesn't. I could see Battle Royale fitting into Halo fairly easily.
Yeah.
I'd play that.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, Halo, I think can pull it off really easy, like you guys have said. I don't know if that's what this game is. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know if they're
Like even if it's like added on to sing, like I'm not saying solely battle royale because it seems like this is going to have a single player. But do you think it'll have like a mode?
I could see like an expansion to like the war mode or whatever it was, the war zone that maybe brings in battle royale elements. I don't know, because I'm sure they're aware that it's certainly a trend right now, and they might be skeptical as if it's because this game, we didn't see gameplay or anything. It feels like it's early. So maybe I could be like, if I were making a game, like, I'm thinking, is battle royale still relevant when this game comes out, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe like, yeah, it's totally going to be relevant. So I feel like it's a toss up. Like I could easily see it be implemented. Like the systems of Halo would work well in a battle royale game. I just don't know. We don't know enough, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. I want them to introduce what the next mode is going to be. Like Horde mode was was Gears, and everybody copied it. Then like I want Halo to own that space. So like the first time the next big thing should be a Halo thing.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Makes
Warzone
sense.
like has roots. Like I was really excited about Warzone. I think it's a good mode. I feel like they could expand that and make that really big. But I don't know. Let's move on. Let's talk about the other big announcement. I feel like Gears of War 5 was something that was leaked in the Walmart Canada leak a month or so ago. Everyone was like, no way, including myself. I was like, this is very early for a Gears game. But we are getting a Gears of War 5 game, as well as Gears of War Tactics, which is like an XCOM style game in a way. And Gears of War Pop, was that just a pop?
I think that's an actual game.
That's an actual
Yeah,
game.
it's a mobile, some kind of
it's a
mobile
mobile game.
experience.
which looks
Weird.
awesome.
Weird. I want to talk
It's
about
perfect.
Gears 5 first.
That's what threw me off was how
was-
they started into the Gears section.
Yeah.
Like they started with Gears of War Pop, and I'm like,
Because that reveal was perfect because it was such like they know what they were doing. Like they were trolling for sure because they showed the logo. Then they showed pop figures breaking out of the logo, and the audience like you hear crowd cheers, and then you hear the cheers go silent, and people are like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
And then they go,
that was it.
Yeah.
Like
Then they showed Gears Tactics, and people were like, "Okay, I guess that's cool. Yeah, that sounds awesome." And then they showed actual Gears 5, and people were like, "Yeah, let's go. This is awesome." But it's crazy that they showed 3 Gears games in one conference, back to back to
Yeah.
back.
This is very, guys, like shouldn't become a surprise. When we first heard Fallout 4 from Bethesda a couple of years ago, we all said that's going to transform how everybody announces games from now on. And it's more than just, you never heard of this game, here it is, and it's coming out in 5 months. You remember when they first announced it, that you had Fallout Shelter before that. Like so it's this whole,
Yeah.
you
Even
want
Pokemon
something
did the same
else,
thing.
but we're going to kind of like take you on the stepping stone of a journey.
Yep.
And I feel like we got a lot of that also later on with the Bethesda thing, but especially here with the 3 games with Gears. I think the Tactics game actually probably, in my mind, that style of game transferring from what you know of Gears to a strategy game makes more sense
total
in
sense.
that world
Yeah.
than Halo, in my opinion.
Yep.
So I'm stoked about that. Just because of the cover mechanic, I feel like that's how you play
Exactly.
Gears. It never clicked. Halo Wars never clicked for me. Mainly because the real time strategy is just on consoles just doesn't click either.
The interesting thing about Gears Tactics, I was looking closer at footage today because I'm working on a video for the game, and when it's like this turn-based thing like XCOM style, but there's moments where you're like aiming the gun yourself, like when they're zooming in on with the long scope or long shot. I'm sorry. Like that's you aiming and getting the headshot. I thought that was a clever twist that totally makes sense in the Gears universe. Like they're all about those up close headshots, the gore, and I'm excited. Like it feels like much more of an active game than just sitting there and clicking, commands.
did they say Tactics was PC specifically?
They definitely said PC when they said a brand new Gears of War PC experience. That's what Rod Ferguson said. I don't know if that's just PC or if it will come to consoles, but it definitely seems like it's catering to the PC audience for sure.
Yeah.
And then all the footage was PC commands, PC inputs.
Yeah, it looks like it's just PC. That's what I'm finding online.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be more excited for Gears of War Tactics than I am Gears of War 5. That might be weird. I love tactics games. I love strategy games. Having a Gears game like that is right up my alley. Because I love that world. I love that universe. Like Sean said, the systems and the mechanics make total sense. They convert so well. So I'm excited about that. But how are we feeling about Gears of War 5? Because it seems like the spotlight is now on Kate Diaz, who's a supporting character in Gears 4.
Yeah, if anybody was mad about the Battlefield 5 having a woman on the cover, like people are just gonna like Wolfenstein's got the women, we got Gears having the women. Like it's like
it's that
times
year.
are changing.
It's that year
The times
women holding guns.
That's right. That's right. I'm stoked about this, man. I did not love the story in the fourth one, but at the same time, now that I'm seeing where they're going with the fifth, it does seem like a necessary pivot for them to like shift and introduce these new characters. I thought JD looked amazing. Like I really did like how clean cut he looked.
Hunky man.
Now he's got a little heft to him. Like he was a little too lean before.
Yeah,
like he's got a little bulk to him now, which
he was
is
a little
what
vanilla
Gears is
before.
about.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is so he's starting to maybe like morph into what his dad ended up becoming, and that's really cool. Talking about new characters, I like. And the enemies, like the way that, like the organics and the robots are the DVs are starting to like mix together. I'm really, really intrigued. I feel like they've really had a chance to figure out what new stories can they tell in this new world that they've created after pivoting into 4. I'm absolutely stoked for this game, for the story especially.
It looked especially striking, like just visually. It seems like something like, I don't know if it's a new engine or they updated something. It like caught me off guard, like how good it looked. Maybe it's because I'm not playing on an Xbox One X, but I was like, holy crap. This looks really good. And there's like a huge variety of environments. It looks like we've seen snow. We've seen like waterfalls and like, caves. It looks really cool. I'm excited for it. So, and the fact that it's coming, did they say 2019?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sooner than I expected. So,
yeah. And I mean, I had the theory before that they were going to put out a Gears game to kind of make up for a Halo game not being there. Thankfully, a Halo game was there, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like it's going to be a bit later. And so I assume that, just to like kind of close out the generation, they're going to give you that back-to-back goodness. And so...
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another huge game. Cyberpunk 2077 was revealed.
Dude.
Yeah, I know Brandon and Blessing, you two were hungry for this. Brandon, how does it feel?
Well, in my notes, like I took notes during the entire conference. In my notes, the only note that I wrote was drool. I really wanted to see more, but I this is exactly what I expected that I would see. I just really wanted to see more.
Sure. I feel like it set up the world really nicely, though.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to get an idea of what the game itself was going to be. Like, I can't imagine that it's just that it would just be Witcher in a in a cyberpunk. Yeah. It's got to be completely new mechanics and everything. Not that there's anything wrong with Witcher. It just wouldn't play well. I don't think it would play well in that particular.
Do you all think that this is a third-person game? Or is it possible?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
I was just curious.
Any other E3 year, I would have watched this trailer like 100 times. But since there's so many like great trailers and great announcements, my attention has just been split, and so I haven't gotten the chance to scrub through and like look at details and all this stuff. But like the first thing I noticed, and this is kind of funny because I made this comment the other day to you guys, but like the first thing I noticed was that the trailer was during the day. They're showing like daytime footage of Cyberpunk, which like for me, anything in the Cyberpunk genre is always at nighttime or always in like some like
that's
dark
a good point.
Smoke.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was so crazy that they showed a very vibrant kind of cool image of Cyberpunk, but it still felt punk. Like it still felt like you still saw like the like people with mohawks, colorful mohawks, like tattoos, like in this slummy kind of area, kind of like Detroit looking area. I think they mentioned that the location or whatever city that the game takes place in, it takes place in like a one of the most impoverished areas of, I don't know if it was the world or the country or whatever it was, but it seems to be very much getting at the heart of what Cyberpunk is, which Cyberpunk is very much high tech mixed with low life, like very awesome technological advancement mixed with like poverty and mixed with like the slums and all this stuff. And from this trailer, it looks like they're capturing that. And judging from their work with The Witcher 3, it seems very much like Bethesda knows CD Projekt Red knows what they're doing with world and with storytelling, because Witcher 3 has such a great world, and this looks like they didn't show a main character. They didn't really show any kind of main story bits, but they did show a lot of the world, which seems like
it's just an introduction, right?
Yeah,
like this is the first time you see it. You don't even want to get bogged down by details at all.
Exactly. How do you feel about it, Sean?
I think the most exciting. So a couple things on this. There's so much to talk about with as little information that we got, which I think is a little bit. It's a little bit telling on just the conference itself. We're so excited by so much that happens, but more than details that we're really looking for. Because as we're unpacking a lot of this stuff, we're like, we don't really know anything about a lot of these big things.
Yeah.
We didn't care in the moment. It was more about the statements that they were making of having this being the place that you found out about it first.
Yeah.
I love what CD Projekt Red is up to here. I don't know why, but I have like this weird sense of pride for them. Like I'm totally separate from them. They're not even like, they're not Canadian, but still they're doing what we all want developers to be able to do and just have like this great success, and that success will beget more success.
Yeah.
They obviously are able to do whatever they want. They have their own creative freedom and a lot of money backing that creative freedom. And it's so encouraging to see just this creativity come to life. It does remind me of like BioWare's early days, especially now that they've got kind of like the fantasy, and it's not quite sci-fi, but Cyberpunk has that nice dichotomy between Witcher and now Cyberpunk, where BioWare had Dragon Age and Mass Effect. So it just seems like it's bigger, and they've continued to maintain their independence, and it just appears that they've got this crazy confidence. So I'm stoked, man. I thought that trailer was awesome. It was a great way, the way that it interrupted Phil Spencer, everything about it. I was really, really excited. I think it's gonna be Far Away is the only downer.
Sure.
But take all the time you need, man. We got lots to play in the meantime.
So there was a hidden message also in that trailer.
Yep.
I've been trying to find it because I want to read
Polygon
it.
had unraveled it actually. I don't have it open here, but yeah, you're right. There's
I found it. I found it on Forbes, and so like I'm gonna read it. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because I don't want to take too long. But let me see. Essentially, they said it's been over 2,077 days since we announced our plan to develop Cyberpunk 2077. We released a CGI trailer, gave some interviews, and went dark. Then they said when we told you we would release the game when it's ready, we meant it. We're definitely much closer to a release date than we were back then, but it's still not the time to confirm anything. So patience is still required. Quality is the only thing that drives us. It's the beauty of being independent in an independent studio in your own publisher. Then they say too, how big? Seriously, big. But to be honest, we have no bloody clue at this point in time. Once we put it all together, we will openly tell you what you can expect, and we'll promise we'll do this before we start talking about pre-orders or asking anything of you.
That's
Free
awesome.
DLC expansions, DRM. Expect nothing less than what you got with The Witcher 3. As for DRM, Cyberpunk 2077 will be 100% DRM free on PC. Then they go on to say no microtransactions, and they say like a whole bunch of stuff that's really cool as far as being fan friendly and being open and being a very personable company.
They're
that's
always
something
like
you don't
that.
get. Yeah, like even do you remember when you opened Witcher 3 and it had like a note from them?
Yeah,
Like,
man. It's the little things like that really set them apart.
yeah,
Yeah, I actually, and we've talked about this before, but I actually won through Major Nelson. I actually won like the collector's edition. And on the inside, when you open the top of the box up, on the inside, there was a signature of every single person that had worked on the game. Like the individual signature of every person that had worked on the game. And I just thought that's like one of those details that CD Projekt Red would come up with.
For sure, yeah. I'm stoked.
I don't know when this game is coming out because from that message, it also seemed like it was pretty far out.
Yeah.
But I'm like, take as much time as you want. Like, we got too many games already, and so
I feel like this is one of those system sellers for next gen that we'll see. You
Possibly.
know, I don't
Yeah.
think we'll see it on these consoles that we have right now.
I could see
You're
it being a
hurting my
swan song for
feelings.
these consoles, but I don't know. It could also be cross generational. I think they mentioned something like that before, and so
okay.
yeah,
That's a good point.
I still need time to play through Witcher 3, so take your time.
Yeah. That's a huge game. Let's move on to Devil May Cry 5. This was out of nowhere, I feel like. And this was one of those moments where we were in a Discord chat together, everybody's hanging out watching the conference in the OKBeast Discord, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, what is it? Is it?" It was one of those. It was really
Yeah, it was like,
special.
what-
I'm
what?
not a Devil May Cry fan, but it was awesome to hear you guys who were Devil May Cry fans freak out about this. Blessing, I know you're stoked for this.
Yeah, like I'm not even like a Devil May Cry fan, but I'm just happy that it's back because there's such a big fan base behind this game. And I was surprised that it was at the Xbox conference. I thought for sure we'd see it at the PlayStation conference, but it's cool that that means that this game is like a multi-platform game, and so it's awesome that that's the case. And yeah, it looks cool. I have been a person who's been like, I don't think it's gonna be Devil May Cry 5 because DMC was a game. I assumed we'd get DMC 2 or some new kind of Devil May Cry reboot. I'm very shocked that it is Devil May Cry 5, but it's cool that it is because that's what fans want. And so yeah, shout out to Devil May Cry 5. It looks cool. Graphically, it looks really cool. Like the artistic style of it looks really good. Like I'm all about it.
Yeah, it looks really good to me. I won't play it. That's not my kind of game, but it was really fun to look at. Like I think it's gorgeous. It's very striking. Sean,
Alex, is this your type of game?
I only giggle just because we know that that's not your kind of game.
We know. No need to go into it.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. The moment of the show, I think, goes to the director of the game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cutest man ever. I won't even try and butcher his name here, but holy crap! If you're not wowed by the trailer, you just gotta love that man. You gotta play his game.
Yeah.
So that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. Let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 3. This trailer featured Frozen, and I did not really care about Kingdom Hearts, and for whatever reason, this trailer, it might be the E3 hype, the spirit of the show. I don't know. I was excited. This trailer got me. I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel?
Kingdom Hearts is very much a magical game franchise where like it does the cool thing of mixing the anime-ish like Final Fantasy-esque characters with the Disney characters. I know I'm just explaining what Kingdom Hearts is at this point, but like it every time you see a new world, you get feels, right? You get goosebumps. And so for them to start off with Frozen, which is like a fan, like people want Frozen. Like people wanted Frozen.
Yeah.
And I think deep down everybody knew it was going to exist. But people were kind of apprehensive, like, are they really gonna have like Toy Story and Tangled and Frozen? Like, but yeah, like they're going all in with the Frozen is Pixar, right? Or is it DreamWorks? Or is it just Disney?
It's just Disney.
It's just Disney. I get all this stuff mixed up at this point. But like, I guess they're going all in with like the 3D animation kind of those properties.
Sure, yeah.
The trailer was awesome. The way the music came in was awesome. There's some weird kind of voice stuff going on in the trailer, but all in all, it's really exciting.
Yeah, and we got a release date of January 29th, 2019.
Yeah. And so it finally got delayed for the first time. I know people will argue with me that it's been delayed before, but not officially. This is the first time it's officially been delayed, and so
it's only by I think a lot of people are expecting
months.
it by the end of the year. So I mean January, that's not a huge deal. Sean, Brandon, any thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3?
I don't understand Kingdom Hearts at all. I don't love Frozen. I actively dislike Frozen, to be honest with you. And I love Disney, so it's not even like I'm curmudgeon an old man. I watch Moana 6 times a week and Coco probably 5 or 6 times a week as well with Lincoln. Lincoln, of course, that's why. So it's not that I love Disney. I wish I had more love for Kingdom Hearts. I'm stoked that it was on this stage. Again, it was mostly about the statement of it appearing here. But yeah, man, I'm happy for everybody who's stoked about it. And I mean that genuinely. I'm not even just making
Sean,
up for
you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go.
I know. Oh my god.
Thank
you
hate
for that advice.
All the hate.
You're welcome.
Forza Horizon 4 looks freaking awesome.
Game of the year.
Oh my gosh.
I'm super hyped for it.
There's so many things. So we got the weather system now, right? With seasons. That looks awesome.
Seasons is huge.
Yeah, it is. Because I know that's
Is
a
it
huge
though?
because
are we gonna notice?
Okay, here's the thing. Here's how I know it is going to be huge, because a couple of years ago, was it Forza 6 or 7? I can't remember, where they introduced like puddles, where they're like, oh, driving in the rain is crazy. And I'm like, that sounds like the worst bullet point on the back of a box I've ever heard. And then you played the game like, oh dang, like this is intense. Like you're gripping, it caused you to grip the controller in a different way. You're playing differently. So I can only imagine what's going to happen when you're playing along and all of a sudden like that lake is like frozen over and like, or the leaves start falling on you. Holy crap, man.
All right, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm so stoked
if
for
it
this.
if driving over leaves like dynamically changes your handling and all this stuff, I think that could be interesting.
Like how it is like, yeah, depending on the time of the year, like are you getting blinded by the sun at certain times in the day and stuff? Like
are roads icy, or like does it mess with your tires? Like okay, if they go that far with it, I could see it being cool.
The other thing too that with racing games is a challenge for developers to keep it interesting is like you're going like essentially going in circles all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like you're experiencing the same tracks all the time. So it's the same reason why you all loved Animal Crossing's track in Mario Kart 8 because you just didn't know what season it was going to be. It just changed it, and so I just feel like it's going to extend the lifetime of Forza Horizon or Forza Horizons 5 if you like. Walmart Canada. I'm stoked. Everything. All I need is my Toyota cars back in this game.
Yeah, man.
True.
I was not expecting Britain. I was definitely expecting like a Eastern Asian place. Like there was rumors about that. I thought, and I don't know.
Britain was a little bit of a bummer for me. I'm sorry if you're
too.
from Britain, but like at least it looks beautiful still. Like that developer, Playground Games, absolutely knows how to make a world, and so that's cool to me. But I was wishing for something like Madagascar, or I don't know if there's roads in Madagascar.
That'd be awesome.
Or like Asia or somewhere cool. Like Britain is cool, I guess, also, but I don't know, man.
This game, this and there was a couple others. I was like, man, I need an Xbox One X, even though the generations.
I think there were obvious
close.
reasons. I think there were obvious reasons why they went Britain though, because in Britain, like the U.S. and they're very obvious like seasonal changes. So they had already done the U.S. at recently.
Yeah.
They had already done Australia. So like this would be one of those scenarios where seasons would probably be more pronounced in Britain than maybe other places that they would have considered.
Yeah.
I totally thought that we were going to see it somewhere in Asia, like Japan or somewhere like that, but Britain is.
Because that seems like it would jive a little bit more with the party aspect of Horizon. That's one of the biggest reasons I loved 3 so much, because Australia and the party, the festival itself, seemed to just match up so well. And like when I think of like a music festival or like an auto festival like this, like you don't think Britain. I'm sorry, it's just not like, it's just too proper. Like it's not, I don't know, it doesn't scream party to me.
Yeah, when I think of Britain, I think of like cold and murders for some reason. Like murders because I watched this Netflix show called The Fall, and The Fall is a great kind of detective murder show. But now when I think of Britain, that's all I think of, and so that's not even in Britain. That's in Scotland. I think of Downton Abbey. Yeah, I think of Luther when I think of Britain and Sherlock. So yeah, I think of murders.
Well, I'm stoked for this game. It comes out October 2nd. So a few weeks before all the other bigger titles. So that's good. I wish it was a little earlier, but I get it. Like Spider-Man's in September, and so are other games. So I guess.
Oh my gosh.
October 2nd.
Yeah, this fall is crazy. It's ridiculous. And next spring.
Yeah, man.
Next spring is somehow
February.
crazier. Yeah.
Speaking of next spring, The Division 2 was revealed.
Oh.
It looks so good. I was a big Division 1 fan. Definitely had my qualms with the game, but overall solid, fun game. And the second one seems to expand on the enemies, on the gadgets. We're in
the
DC
weapons
now.
look really cool.
Yeah, it looks really fun. Like there's like drones and stuff, and there's like, did anybody catch the like the Prey glue gun looking gadget that was going on? That was super cool. Sean, are you a Division fan?
Dude, I feel like, so between this game and Destiny and a few others, I guess, I have spent a lot of this generation just learning the new types of games that I'm going to have to play. So when the Division came out, when Destiny came out, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I'm too old for this. Like, I don't know. And I've come to really appreciate that, both Destiny and the Division. So I feel like now I will be in a better case, like right out of the gate, to go, yeah, I am all in on Division. When I didn't have the same problems with the Division that everybody else did with like the bullet sponge enemies and things like that. Mm-hmm. It was more just that I didn't understand like the hook of it. I didn't understand like the gameplay loop and everything. And now that I've got that, I am all in. I think wandering around DC is like the coolest. I loved in Fallout 3 wandering around the mall and everything like that, and then visiting that in real person or in real life was great. So I can't wait to do that. I thought it was interesting the way they introduced this game as it seemed like you were in like a jungle or forest or something like that. So vastly different from the concrete jungle of New York City from the first game. So I can't wait, man. I could go on and on about this game, but it looks great.
Yeah, I agree. Brandon, how do you feel about it? The Division 2.
It looked really cool. I was particularly turned on by the weapons. I don't know if you saw it, but the right before the glue gun part, there was something that looked like it was like some sort of boring torpedo or something.
Yeah.
Like they shot it and it went underground, and you see it like ripple across the ground, and then it came up underneath the other guy and it blew up. It was pretty sweet. But yeah, I never got into the first division, but it was something that always intrigued me. Like I wanted to try it out. I played a little bit of the beta, and I just for one reason or another I never got into it. But I think I would like to play it.
Yeah, looks
my
really good.
nitty gritty. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just thought of something else I appreciate from my nitty gritty pull away that I it seemed, maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but my big deal with the first division was that the heads up display, like the UI was very unique, but I almost had trouble seeing a lot of this stuff, like the see-through nature of the way everything floated over top of the game world was almost too see-through. I appreciated a lot of the added contrast, I think, in this one. Things seemed a little easier to see.
Yeah.
With this, and for my old eyes, Alex.
For sure. This next game might be a bit divisive. I want to talk it out. Crackdown 3.
It looks like trash. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That gameplay did not look good whatsoever.
Yes, it did. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I want more.
I don't know if you guys
explosions.
watched a different trailer than me. It just looked janky.
I'm not saying
and
the trailer was good, but the gameplay that I saw looked very much in the vein of Crackdown 1, which
when
I
did
love.
Crackdown 1 come out?
A long time ago, but that's besides
What
the point.
year? No, it's part of my point.
Was it 2006, 2007?
So you're telling me it looks like a 2007 game?
Okay.
Because that's what I saw.
Okay.
Like that's my point. Is that the game looks
I think
like
you're
a
twisting a little bit there.
to me at least, it looked like a game that was dated. It looked like games that stated. It looks like a game that I don't know. Maybe it is a case where I had to get my hands on it, but nothing about the way that game looks, the way that game controls, like nothing in that trailer sold the game to me whatsoever. And maybe they're not trying to sell it to me. Maybe they're just trying to sell it to Crackdown fans. Maybe that's the case. But like that trailer looked bad to me, if I'm being honest.
I think what it was missing before was the mayhem. I want to just like go into this world and just blow the crap out of everything. And we've got Terry Crews screaming at the top of his lungs and explosions happening and giant enemies and everything's falling apart. That's all I really want out of this game. And I wasn't seeing any of that before, and I got it now. And I think that's why I'm hyped.
Yeah, for sure. And I do bless. It does feel like they are trying to market to the Crackdown fan base, because I feel like they realize for a lot of outsiders, this game might not show well to them, or might not even be for them. But I feel like for a lot of Crackdown fans, it's exactly what we wanted. The gameplay looks a lot better than it did last year.
When did Crackdown 2 come out?
2010.
10? Was it? It was like around that like mid to late era of 360. So like my thing is, especially if they're trying to sell this to Crackdown fans, then that's another thing, right? But also like the last game came out a while ago.
Sure.
And fan bases fizzle off if you don't have entries like in the franchise for a long time. So if they are trying to sell to Crackdown fans, like it is like sales wise it's gonna flop. And maybe at this point they understand that, and like they're biting the bullet on that. Like they're like, okay, well we're already this far. It has to release. Like this is what's gonna happen.
I don't think
We're
there's
fine with
any
that.
world where they can cancel this.
Yeah,
They would
but I
lose
just
so
didn't-
much trust from the fans. You know, I feel like they're embracing it, and they're just gonna give it to the Crackdown fans. I feel
Yeah,
like.
and especially as with Terry Crews being in that trailer as much as he is, I don't feel like he was utilized. Like they felt like they were trying to be like, okay, here's Terry Crews, like he's gonna sell this game for us. Here's all these voice clips, like he's being hilarious. But still, like nothing in that. Like even with the Terry Crews, who I love Terry Crews, that didn't even push the lever for me. That didn't sell me on the game anymore. It didn't feel like he was being utilized well.
I think it depended on like where you were going into it with it. Like I don't know, like if you're somewhere in the middle, then like this was enough to kind of push you. But if you're already made up your mind, and I think there's a lot of people who have, I think it's very fair to have already made up your mind on Crackdown 3. Then maybe this wasn't enough. But if you're kind of in the middle, it nudged me in the positive direction for sure, dude.
Where were you at before this trailer?
Pretty much in the middle. Like I hadn't completely made up my mind that this game is going to completely bomb and flop, but I was worried. But this sort of like regained my trust a little bit. I just want them to. I felt like they had finally found a bit of an identity with the Terry Crews and like just going over the top. Like because at first the identity was everything blows up, like or everything crumbles. The entire environment can be destroyed. That's not interesting. Like that's not something that really hooks me. At least I get hooked by like great personalities and just larger than life gameplay, and that's what I got from today.
Yeah, it strikes me very much because I really like Saints Row 4, and this strikes me as the closest thing I'm going to get to another Saints Row 4. But also Saints Row 4 was like, I don't know. Yeah, my thing, if you're a Crackdown fan, you're listening and you're bummed out what I'm saying. Like my whole thing with this game is that like I feel like they've delayed this game so much that they've delayed it out of its own relevance. Like they delayed it out of the sphere which it could have lived and it could have breathed and arrived at a place where that kind of game is still relevant. Because like it was announced in 2014, right? And that was like a year.
It becomes a bit of a joke.
Yeah, like
The Last Guardian.
The Last Guardian. Like The Last Guardian is also a game where like that game would have been awesome in 2011, or like when Saints Row 4 was coming out. That would have been a great time for this game to come out because I feel like that these types of games were more acceptable as far as like the open world, destructible superhero fantasy kind of game. I feel like nowadays we're not getting that kind of game anymore, but maybe that's the thing that's going to sell this game. I feel like that's a point of hope to pull onto, but I'm not feeling it.
I can't wait for this to be your game of the year next year.
It might be considering who we have on this website. If Brandon and Alex tag team enough, it'll get on top 10.
Yeah, like I feel like this
PUBG made it.
You guys mentioned the Last Guardian comparison, which I do feel like it's kind of apt in some ways. Like Blessing, Last Guardian came out 7s, I think, but to you, a fan of those games, you loved it, right?
Yeah,
and
but also
like
it was 7s was like the lowest that game was getting. That game was also getting 9s and 10s from some places.
Sure, and
so like,
I mean,
yeah,
that might happen with Crackdown. Like you never know.
For a game that is very gameplay heavy, like very gameplay, like it's not about the story. It's not about the atmosphere. It's not about the journey. It's not about. I guess it might have some puzzle solving in there, but like it's an action game about gameplay.
Sure,
and for an action game about gameplay to come out and really like be a hit, it has to be a hit because it's going up against Call of Duties and like Battlefields and like it's releasing the same day as or did they announce the date? They said 22nd.
February 22nd. Yeah, so it's coming out the same day as Anthem, and that is competition for that game.
What are the chances? Oh my god, it's just going to get destroyed.
It's going to get destroyed up against those games.
Yeah,
and like it has for it to be received well, it has to be able to stand up in games against games like that. Like it's not that I think this game is going to be bad. I think it's going to be mediocre. And by mediocre, I mean like I think it'll probably be like a fine game, but it's not going to make any sort of splash, especially for Xbox, who needs very good first party games right now.
Sure.
Didn't Rise of the Tomb Raider come out the same day as Fallout 4?
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah, it did.
Like,
it did.
What are the chances of this, man? Holy crap!
Yeah, and so
sucks.
I think it's Metro Exodus, it's Anthem, and
did Metro Exodus have a date?
I thought it was February 22nd. I could be wrong.
Last of Us, I think, is the 22nd too.
Or
Days
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 Gone.
Days Gone.
Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah,
Exodus.
Days Gone. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
call.
I totally agree with you guys. This thing will probably flop. However, I'm excited as a Crackdown
free on
fan.
Game Pass.
And that's all I can ask for. Let's move on because we kind of spent a good time on Crackdown 3. Ori and the Will of the Wisps was there, and it looked freaking awesome.
Looks great.
Yep.
Ori is
Can't
like
wait.
is like in it in adolescence now, and therefore has new powers. Like we saw, I don't know. It looked awesome to me. What do you guys think? Or Sean, I know you're a big Ori fan.
Love Ori, man. It was like a rejuvenation for me in this whole Metroidvania resurgence and everything. I absolutely it made me feel like a good gamer. Like the way that I was able to figure everything out. The challenge for me personally, it was absolutely perfect. It didn't totally push me away, but it definitely was hard. And it made me feel really good about myself in the end. This is a little further away than I wanted it to be, but I love owls, man. I think it looks gorgeous. I think it does look like it's got a bit of a visual upgrade over the first one. Almost looked like Rayman Legends to me. The way the visuals are a little rounded.
It's such a beautiful
out
game in general, though. Like even the original one was amazing looking. Like I remember watching Alex play it, and it just looked. Yeah. It looks phenomenal.
Awesome. Next game, let's talk about Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that game looks awesome.
It looks great.
It's the new From Software game, which is a huge get for Microsoft. Huge, and just kind of signals like I feel like their attitude, their strategy. We've already kind of talked about it, but again, a great embodiment of that attitude that we've seen from Microsoft today. And again, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a samurai action game from the Dark Souls developers. It looks awesome, totally different tonally than Dark Souls and Bloodborne, which I think is a welcome change in my opinion. I feel like this diversifies From Software's portfolio even more so. Personally, I'm stoked for it. The fact that we're getting Ghosts of Tsushima and Shadows Die Twice, it's very good. But yeah, for me, that might be one of the game of the shows. Like there was did you guys see the Tenchu vibes going on? Like the grappling
big
hook?
Time.
Oh, it looks so good. And I'm curious, like, if we'll see those, like, any stealth portions like you do in Tenchu, because it definitely seemed reminiscent of it. Do you guys agree?
I'd be all over that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry if you said this while you cut out for a quick second there, Alex. But
No worries.
Is this not the game that they teased at PSX?
It is.
Like, is this?
It is.
This is that game. Like,
It was Game
it's
Awards.
worth mentioning, man. Like, it's not just a big deal for From Software to have this on the Xbox stage. It's the game that we first saw at PSX. We've now come to realize what it is on an Xbox stage. What maneuvering did that take in order for that to happen? I'm stoked about that as an Xbox fan.
For sure. Bless, how do you feel about Shadows Die Twice?
I'm really excited for it. It seems like it's gonna be a Souls-like game, and so I'm personally probably not. Well, I'm either or if I'm gonna play this game, because I'm not great at these games, but this game looks cool enough to make me cry, probably also make me cry. But also, I think it's cool that this game seems to be posing opposition for a game like Neo. And so it's gonna be cool to see if there is a Neo 2 to see that back and forth, because I think that could be awesome. But yeah, this game looks dope.
Yeah. A couple more games, then we're done with the Xbox conference. Dying Light 2 was revealed, and man,
Looks cool.
That game has improved quite a bit. The first game was really fun, a little rough around the edges. It seems like they've really polished it up, and they've kind of they've improved the parkour system, which was of course like a staple of the first one. A lot of fans of Mirror's Edge kind of found something similar, something satisfying in Dying Light. And then now there's like a focus on branching decisions, and your actions can have a huge impact on the world. They showed a segment where you can they went in and killed the people that were at this little encampment, and then that totally changed what happened. And then they redid it, and instead of partnered with those people, brought them water, and it kind of differentiated how the city looked, how things played out. It looks really good. Are you guys Dying Light fans? Are you excited for this?
I didn't get the first one, even though it seemed really up my alley for both having zombies and having parkour, and I love Mirror's Edge. This one it looks like it'll get me in. Like the first one, I can't remember the reason I didn't get the first one. I think I was just like, I had other games to play, and it looked a bit like...
Nobody was talking about it, man. I feel like Colin Moriarty maybe was the only person mentioning it.
I think so,
It very much flew under the radar, for sure.
Yeah. Brandon, I know you're a huge Mirror's Edge fan. Does this strike your fancy?
Yeah, I was always into the parkour aspect of the first one, but I don't think they really played it up as much as they could have.
Sure.
The trailer definitely looks really awesome for Dying Light 2, so I'd be interested in checking it out for sure.
Yeah. Last game we'll talk about for Xbox, Metro Exodus, is looking better and better every time we see it. It's coming out in 2019. And it makes me want to go back and play the other games. I haven't played them before. I own them because they've been on sale so many times, and I hear so many good things about them. So I'm going to make it a point this year to go back and play those. It looks so fun. It looks really interesting. It looks like something that you can really dive in and really get into the history of what's going on in the Metro world. So that looks really good to me.
Before we get into Bethesda, can we talk about the first party thing?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to wrap up on, actually.
Yeah, because like it looks like, or they came out and announced that they've acquired 5 studios. Some of them were studios they've already worked with, such as Playground Games and Undead Labs. They also acquired Ninja Theory. They're also starting their own studio. They're also starting a new studio. I can't remember what the 5th one was. What was the 5th one that I'm missing? We have
Compulsion Games.
Compulsion Games, yeah. Compulsion Games behind We Have a Few. They acquired them too, and I think that's the single biggest thing they could have announced during this conference. Like, to me at least, because I think there's a common complaint with Xbox about their exclusive library, because especially this generation, it has been lacking. Like, they've been releasing, they've been either releasing not great games or not releasing games at all. Between stuff like, it always sucks whenever I bring up Recore, but like Recore and like State of K2, some people like it, but it's not resonating with, game. I'm sure, as many people as they want it to. And like Sea of Thieves, some people, it has a small community, but I'm sure not as many people. That game isn't resonating with as many people as they want it to.
They've been releasing a lot of divisive games.
Yeah, exactly. They're not releasing the hits, and especially compared to their competition, which is Nintendo and Sony. Like, this generation, those two companies have been killing it. You know, with Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and pretty much all the Nintendo games, and with games like God of War for PlayStation and Horizon Zero Dawn and The Last of Us and Uncharted, and like both Nintendo and Sony are releasing like 10 out of 10 game after 10 out of 10 game, and Microsoft is kind of like that. I mean, I think if we're comparing to like maybe previous generations, the Xbox exclusive library is somewhat fine, but like for this generation, it has very much been lacking. And so for them to come out and be like, hey, you know, we're killing with the services, with things like Xbox Game Pass, with things like Play Anywhere, with these different services, right? We're doing a great job with this, right? For them to then come out and be like, hey, we're going to acquire 5 different studios, and these studios are going to make games exclusively for us. And one of those studios being Ninja Theory, which struck gold last year with Hellblade, right? A single player game, was a very strong single player game, showing that Xbox is it shows their diversity in terms of the games they want to have. And it shows that they really actually do care about bringing games to their platform, and building for a strong future. I don't think we'll see games from these studios for a little bit, for a few years, but I think when we start seeing that rotation of games from them, it is going to be awesome.
I think we'll start seeing their games when the next consoles hit. Well, that's when we'll start seeing the fruits of their labor. And I think this doubles Xbox's first party studios. Is that correct? They have 10 now, as opposed to 5.
When they showed that graphic, it looked like it doubled it. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doubled it, which is just awesome to hear. As I've been an Xbox fan since the first Xbox came out, since the day it came out. I was there, and I've been let down this generation. And it feels like, okay, they're taking my qualms seriously, they're taking my feedback seriously, and they're lining things up to hopefully deliver on both great multiplayer games as well as single player games, which they are significantly lacking in. So this is very exciting for me. Sean, I know you've kind of talked about it already, but it's exciting for you. I'm sure it's exciting for everybody here. One of the things that I want to talk about, the last thing before we end this conference talk, I feel like it wasn't really talked about that much, but they mentioned that they're developing the tech so that they can deliver console quality streaming to any device, including your PC or smartphone, which I think is really big. I know we've seen Sony try to get into this kind of thing. And Xbox has, I think they might have dabbled in this kind of stuff before, but they are announcing this new initiative, which I think is really exciting. I don't think we're going to see the fruits of this for a long time. I don't think we have the infrastructure in place to see it work completely, but the fact that they're kind of publicly announcing that, yes, this is a priority of ours, streaming to your smartphone, like that could be huge in like 5-10 years. And that's kind of, I feel like the next landscape, I guess, you know, as far as gaming goes, is like that really, those insane games on the go, you know?
It's crazy that I think EA had a similar message yesterday too, as far as streaming goes. And it's interesting to see like both platform holder. Xbox is a platform holder, right? I always forget the meaning of platform holder. Like Xbox as a console manufacturer, do it as well as EA as a publisher, come out and be like, hey, we're also doing streaming. I think there's going to be somewhat of a fight between like once PlayStation maybe gets PS Now together or whatever thing they might cook up. Yeah. I think there's gonna be an interesting kind of back and forth to see how streaming is established within the industry, because like right now it's kind of a wild west, and Xbox is the one taking the helm and leading the charge, and so I'm very excited to see where it goes, because it can only be good for us, right, if streaming gets better and if streaming improves, because that's more ways for us to play. So,
yeah, awesome. Well, let's get to the Bethesda talk, guys. There's several things we can talk about. I would like to, just for the sake of time, we can decide if we want to skip over some of the smaller stuff that is kind of inconsequential. But they started off with Rage 2 gameplay. Which, how do we feel about that? Because I feel like some people who I was in this Discord chat, some of us, including me, were really into it, and others weren't. What do you say, Blessing?
I was gonna say you can say my name. You can say
no. I don't think it was just you. I think there's a couple people who weren't really into it, or at least that's the vibe I got. I felt like I see the DNA of the Doom tech they're using. It feels definitely feels slower, but then there's moments of like bursts of speed that the characters get. I'm digging the gadgets and the powers that are at plays from what we've seen so far. How do you feel, Brandon?
Yeah, I really loved Rage 1, and I really loved Mad Max. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is like a perfect marriage between those two things. Like,
sure, yeah.
You take all the good bits of Rage 1, and you just smack Mad Max right on top of that.
Yeah.
And if you're even interested in this sort of like post-apocalyptic Mad Max sort of world, I can't really see you not liking this game, at least in one degree or another. It's awesome. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, it looks great. Sean, how are you feeling about it?
Same, man. I feel like they're having trouble really conveying why this game is going to be great, but this is probably the closest thing that we're going to get to a dedicated vehicular combat type of game, like the old Twisted Metal games.
Yeah.
You just jump out of your car and also shoot and blow up stuff. So I'm all in. Thought it was super awkward with Andrew WK. I was pumped to see him come out to do the concert thing, but I thought they were going to be playing gameplay like on the screen and stuff. Yeah. It was like literally just a Just Dance kind of thing. So a little weird, but I like that song. I like this game. I don't need to see any more of it, to be honest with you. Just give it to me. I don't really need this. I don't feel like there's not too much here to really learn about. So just that's it. I'm done. Let me play it.
Sure. Bless, how do you feel?
I feel like we should talk about how we felt about the Bethesda's conference after this, because when they brought J.R. Smith on stage to do the song, or sorry, Andrew WK on stage. What's his name? Andrew WK?
Yeah, but isn't JR, like, are you talking about basketball player?
I'm talking about the musician. But when they brought him on stage to do that thing, I was like, man, what in the world are you guys doing? It looked fine to me.
Spew your conference thoughts real quick, your overall thoughts.
I think as a conference, this is the worst Bethesda's done as in terms of conference structure and like conveying a message. But I do think after having some time to marinate on it, and by time I mean like just this podcast, I think it was fine. I think it was good in terms of the announcements they had. Like they had great announcements toward the end, but like they announced Elder Scrolls 6, which I'm like, of course you guys have Elder Scrolls 6. I'm sad we didn't get at least like a subtitle from that.
Sure,
like, I feel like
same.
We did get a setting though, which I'm excited about.
Wait, what's the setting?
Did we?
Fantasy?
No, I mean the trailer, it looked like it was like a more seaside green looking land, like a more lush landscape, whereas I feel like Skyrim was very mountainous, snowy,
Snowy. I mean that makes sense.
More
I think
barren.
that's a good pull. And they showed I was gonna say Scalebound. It's Starfield. Yeah, they announced Starfield.
Which we didn't really
cool.
get anything about, but it confirms the rumor.
It confirms.
And they said it's a next gen single player game.
Yeah, so. Which tells me that they didn't want to announce it, but they know that the leaks are just going to come fast and furious.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Rage 2. I think it looks cool. I agree with Sean 100% that I think they're having a hard time conveying what's going to make this game great and what's going to make you want to buy this game. Because from what I saw, I was like, this looks like a cool game. I'm sure when it comes out, it's going to get like great reviews and everybody's going to play it.
They kind of had that problem.
Awesome.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're fine.
They kind of had that same problem with Rage 1 though. Like Rage 1 didn't sell, droves of games. Rage 1 was a good game. It didn't get like huge critical acclaim or anything like that. It was a good fun game. And
I feel like they also had that problem with Prey. Like Prey was also like a good game, very good game. Depending on who you ask, like might be an excellent game. But like also I feel like they had a hard time communicating like, hey, this is why you're gonna want to get this game. And I really hope that Rage 2 is more Doom than Prey in terms of its resonance and in terms of how it catches people off guard. It looks like it's gonna be awesome. Like from what I saw, I'm like, okay, this game looks awesome. It's not necessarily sold me because it seems to occupy a similar space as like a Borderlands or even a Fallout. Like Fallout and Rage 2 are very different games, but they're in terms of setting, in terms of being first person shooters, in terms of being open world, in terms of having exploration, like they're similar and they kind of fill that same void for me. But yeah, like it looks like a really good game, and so I think that's exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I'm optimistic. I think it'll be a fine game. We got the announcement. I don't think we need to spend too much time on this. Elder Scrolls Legends is coming to consoles / Switch, which is cool. You know, card
Boring.
game. I played it. It's a fun game. It's all right. It's on Switch for free. You know.
Yeah. If it comes to Switch, I'll probably
Switch
play
fans are hungry for games, even though we have so many already. But yeah. Then next up was Doom Eternal, which is the sequel to Doom. We don't know anything about it really, other than the fact that it's a sequel, and we're going to hear more about it at QuakeCon. I feel like this is I don't know why I didn't see this coming. For whatever reason, I felt like a Doom sequel was still farther out. Like this is another one of those instances. You're talking about this, Sean. Like we keep seeing these games that we feel like are like, why are we seeing this already? But it makes sense. Everyone loved Doom. I think it got like Game of the Year at several outlets. It sold really well from what I remember.
Doom is excellent.
We don't really know what this is, though. We don't know that it's a sequel.
They
just
said it was
know
a
that
sequel.
it's. I don't remember that part. I just
swear to you,
remember
they
a
said it was a
name.
sequel.
It's a battle royale mode. 100 demons laying on Mars.
That never ends because it's eternal.
Yeah, I mean, I that does make like that Eternal name. Like I do see like, is that some multiplayer? Is that some like services going on?
Well,
like
that's the thing, because like Doom did have multiplayer, and I could very well see them being like, hey, we're building a platform with Doom. Doom is not just going to be a game. It's going to be a game that you play for the next 10 years. And I could see that very much being a thing. I hope it's not. I hope they're just like, hey, here's Doom Eternal. It's Doom 2 basically. Have fun. But knowing how they treat their games, and I don't mean that sounds like I'm saying that in a bad way. I'm not saying that in a bad way at all. But knowing especially how they treat Doom with Snap Map and multiplayer and all that stuff, I could very much see it being like an infinite thing.
Yeah. Sean, are you a Prey guy? Are you a Prey fan?
Not even a little bit, man. But I was sort of encouraged, I guess, that they're really sticking with it. Like I felt like they really could have abandoned that game, but new modes coming out. It has me mostly just glad for the developers more than anything. Like I as much as I'd really like to say like that got me back in, it didn't. But I'm glad that those guys still have stuff to be pushing out, and they're continuing to flesh out this vision that they have for that game.
Yeah, we got.
But the mode that they talked about was great.
Yeah,
I thought it was a
we
really
got
good
several
idea.
modes. We got like a new game plus mode. I think we got a survival mode. There's one other mode I can't remember.
Was that one where you get to play as a mimic, like a
yeah.
multiplayer mode?
No, that's
where, like,
Typhon Hunter.
Is that Typhon Hunter? That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
I always like the twists on these kind of games where you get to play as the enemy. You know, Left 4 Dead 2 did it. Gears Judgment did it, where you got to play as the Locust. I don't know. I always like when these things kind of flip themselves on the head. But yeah, Prey you have 3 new modes that come out tonight, and then you also have the Moon Crash DLC and the Typhon Hunter that are coming out. So, still supporting
Those
that
are
game,
in summer, I think.
Summer, okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm stoked to try it. I haven't played Prey. It's a game I want to get to eventually, because it seems very much up my alley. But I haven't had time. So maybe when Typhon Hunter comes out, I'll jump on. I feel like the next one was pretty big, somewhat. I think Blessing, you might have predicted this. We got some Wolfenstein DLC.
Yeah. I did predict this. It's a spin-off game.
DLC, right? Oh, is that a spin-off?
I think it's a spin-off, Youngblood.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I feel like Youngblood isn't something you're supposed to say in public. At least in Jamaica. But like it looks awesome. It's a co-op game. You play as BJ Blazkowicz's twin daughters in the 80s. And I don't know exactly who the enemies are. I don't know if they're still the Nazis.
They're still the Nazis. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, it looks crazy awesome. Set in Paris, yeah.
Paris,
I'm already sold on
1980s.
Like Wolfenstein 2 is such a great game that like anything in that franchise at this point, I am sold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very excited.
And it's
for
co-op.
That. Yeah, co-op is big. Like,
co-op is awesome.
Yeah,
Alex, you playing
love
it?
that.
Me and you?
Sure.
We doing this? Let's do it.
What else did we get? We got Wolfenstein Cyber Pilot, which is a VR game, and you turn war machines on against the Nazis.
This is a weird take, and stick with me. I feel like this conference, and I kind of tweeted this conference for Bethesda kind of made me feel like Bethesda as a publisher more so than previous conferences. In the sense that like it feels like they're finally at the point of giving me things where I'm like, I really don't care about this. Like when they talked on stage about Elder Scrolls Legends or whatever it was, and when they got to the VR stuff, and when they got to a lot of the mobile stuff, I was like, man, you guys are really
everywhere.
Yeah, you guys are really being a publisher right now, of being like, hey, we're a business. We're going to talk to you about kind of our diversity of games on different platforms, and like you're not going to care about this at all, but we're still going to share it with you because we kind of have to sell it.
Yeah. And speaking of that, can we talk about the Elder Scrolls Blades real quick?
That looks cool.
Yeah, I was
in a weird way.
Yeah,
like I'm reluctantly into it.
I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I'm interested to try it. It's if you're unaware, it's essentially a mobile game, point and click RPG. It's a Skyrim game, or not Skyrim, Elder Scrolls game. I'm sorry. You point to move, kind of Infinity Blade combat. It looks like you can swipe, you can tap. There's how do you feel about this, Sean?
Well, the game, like, I thought it was neat how you can, I think a big thing with these mobile games is that you can play it with one hand. Like, it sounds weird to say, like, the meeting mode, I think that was really funny.
Yeah.
I had convinced myself on my own core, really, that I wanted to play this because it reminded me just a little bit or just enough of Severed, which I played on the Vita, and then it went to other touch type of devices where I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't mind that at all. But I don't necessarily know if the combat or the style of that game lends itself to how frantic everything was with Severed. So we'll see. I'm intrigued. I found myself going like, and I still can't get onto Bethesda's site to get their early access for other things. And I was looking for it on the App Store, mostly because I'm just desperate for something good on my phone. I'm interested to see how it plays on older iPhones as well, because I think they had mentioned a couple times
iPhone
the
10,
newest iPhone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how that's going to work for me. I don't have the newest one. So we'll see, man. I spent a couple of these publishers spent a lot of time on mobile, and it's making people feel a little maybe uncomfortable. And I'm definitely one of those people. It's like, oh goodness, I'm here for the consoles.
Sure, that's totally fair. I like the 3 modes it comes with. There's Abyss, which is kind of like a roguelike. You go till you die, see how far you can get. There's an arena mode where you play other people, which seems iffy to me. Just, mobile game, first person slasher, one-on-one. I don't know. It just seems like it's ripe for lag and I don't know. We'll see. And then there's a town mode where you get to like build your town up, go visit your friends' towns, and that seemed like really fun to me.
Yeah, it took me back to like when they first started their conference. They're like, hey, the theme of this conference is going to be create. Yeah. And immediately I was like, should I just turn this thing off right now? Because I'm not going to like any of this.
Which I feel like they didn't really stick to that theme except for like 2 games.
Yeah, they didn't really stick to it, which I was kind of happy about. But even this looked interesting for what this was.
Yeah, for
sure.
Like
I'm not mad about this at all.
All right, let's get into I feel like the star of the show, Fallout 76. This is kind of what everyone was going in. We were expecting details. It was revealed a couple weeks ago. We got like a teaser trailer. We had some fun arguments on the OK Beast podcast about it. We have more details now. How do we feel overall? Blessing, I feel like you're going to go on a rant, so I'm going to save you for last.
I'm not going to go on a rant.
No? Really? Okay.
No.
Go for it.
Yeah, so it's exactly what I expected. And I'm somewhat sold on it. Like I'm
really.
I'm at the point. Yeah, like it's exactly the things that I don't want from a Fallout game. But I feel like the way they communicated it and not even the way they communicated. I feel like I've just come to terms of being like, yo, I didn't think this thing was going to exist in the first place. And so the fact that it exists doesn't really take anything away from it being not what I want.
Sure. And before we go further, let me explain for the audience in case they didn't know. Fallout 76, it's 4 times the size of Fallout 4. It's set in West Virginia. It's a prequel. There's all new rendering, lighting, and tech, which is really awesome. I thought it looked significantly better. Weather systems entirely online.
It takes place like 20 or so years after the nukes hit. And so like you're essentially rebuilding society. That's like the theme of the games. You're rebuilding society, and the biggest thing is it's online.
Entirely.
And so
there's single player, but then they said the word entirely online, which is kind of
it's online. They say that single player is like a thing just that they'll say. It's Destiny single player. Sure. But it's an online game. The only thing that worries me is shooting, because if it's online, that means that VATS isn't going to work.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it didn't appear anywhere in the trailer that that was going to be the case.
And so I don't know how I feel about that because the Fallout shooting isn't necessarily even like
Good.
remotely. I need like capable. Like it's not a thing that you do in that game unless like you're desperate and you've run out of VATS points or whatever. Action
Well,
points.
the trailer kind of it looked to me like it wasn't quite the normal Fallout first person kind of. It looked like it was very much built more towards specific FPS combat
ADS kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. This got me so excited. I was automatically excited for online Fallout, but then there was part of me I was like, oh, I hope they don't do like a battle royale thing, which I didn't think they were going to, but there was definitely some cautiousness.
Yeah. There was some language in there where you're like, oh, but it didn't go that direction at all.
This feels it still feels like Fallout to me based on what they've said. And there's these softcore, I think that they made a joke, it's softcore survival.
Which I like.
Yeah.
I love that it's that.
There's dozens of players, not hundreds. And they kind of said it's the apocalypse. You're not going to see a ton of people, but there definitely are people on this map that are other players. And I thought that was really fun because the very first thing you go to is like this little shack, and somebody like there's another player holed up there. To you, it's like another opportunity to get loot. To them, it's like their stuff, right? And so there was like this shootout. And I was like, oh, this is because I remember like Fallout 4, I had this like really fun adventure where I went to like that farm like that was close to the first settlement, and I ended up like murdering everybody on accident. And like you just get those fun Fallout stories, but I feel like now they're even more dynamic because you're playing against other human people, you know? And so that really excites me, the fact that I can choose, okay, you're my enemy or you're my friend, you know? I really like that.
And like two weird things about this game. One, they're doubling down on the building, which I guess if this is a game about rebuilding society, they kind of have to, which bums me out a lot. But we'll see if it's good this time. I really hated it in the first game. I know a lot of people disliked it.
It looked to be more like snappy. Then the first one was kind of like, okay, you can kind of line these up. You get green and red. This one looked like locked in like tile sets, which might make it a lot better.
They definitely portrayed that in a way. It seemed like they had improved that. And for me, like I was worried about that as well, Blessing. But like then I think about like Chelsea loves that. Like, and Fallout 4 is like her game, man. She has poured tons of hours into that game. So I think about like if she's back home building up a settlement, and I can go off and do my thing, but we're still playing the game together.
That'd be
like,
cool.
That's ideal, man.
Like if I can just have Alex build for me, and I just like do whatever I want. That would be great.
Yeah, or like we have a group going. Like a couple people are building, and a couple people are doing their own thing. Like that's really really cool. I really need to play it too. I'm worried when I hear about the dozens of players. Like they're clearly setting expectations on how many people you're sharing the world with, and I feel like that it's reminding me a little bit of Sea of Thieves, and I don't like how that panned out. But maybe just the style and the enemies and the game and the gunplay, everything just the way Fallout is. Maybe it's a stronger foundation. For this game where Sea of Thieves didn't have that strong of a foundation. So as soon as it's so funny because I had noted during the stream, I'm like, no VATS, that's strange. And I'm like, surely it's just because VATS doesn't show very well at a conference, perhaps. But you guys are absolutely right. Like, how does VATS work in an online setting? It probably isn't there. And to be honest, that has me a little worried because VATS, I think, is so great, but it's not balanced out by great gunplay, to your point, Blessing.
Yeah.
So we'll see, dude. This is going to be probably more of a thing where I am enjoying playing with my friends more than the game itself. But Fallout is, I think it could still pull that off. With all that said, I think it can still pull it off.
To the VATS thing, remembering Gears of War in general now, when somebody would activate like a Lancer chainsaw attack, like they'd go to chainsaw somebody, if that person had a Lancer equipped, it would turn into like a chainsaw battle. I wonder if there's something with VATS, like if somebody triggers VAT, maybe it's like really rare, but if you can trigger VATS, maybe both people, it brings VATS up and it's kind of like a turn-based thing. I don't know.
It's weird. I don't know. It's maybe not for PvP, but maybe they're still
PvE.
There for PvE.
It's weird if like if you're in a seamless kind of world, because the way Todd was talking about it very much seemed like drop in, drop out. Like it seemed like you have this huge world 4 times the size of Fallout 4, right? And people are just there. People exist there, and so like it's if you're exploring in a world with 20 people or so, like it's gonna be hard to really implement it in a way where like does everybody's game freeze? Does it freeze the area you're in? Does it freeze like the 12 meters around you? Like how does it work?
It'd be cool to take over like a radio station, like on the map. You'd like go on there and you could broadcast your message.
That'd be dope.
That'd be fun.
But then you have to obviously mute it in case somebody gets on there and they're talking smack. Or
Sure,
whatever.
but still cool.
The other weird
but
thing,
the nukes thing,
that's what I was going to talk about.
Crazy.
That was the next thing I was going to say. Yeah,
I'm worried,
So
but
is
also excited.
Me too. I'm the exact same. Like, are we just gonna have bombs going off like all the time, or is this gonna be so when you finally manage to do it, it's so rare and the loot that you get out of it? I just think they really thought that through. Of
Shared codes.
Yeah, and also just you think they would maybe not have nukes after the nuclear holocaust, but why not, man? Just like get access to these silos and just launch more.
I kind of
missiles.
like that they're embracing the craziness. It's like, yeah, you can nuke stuff. And it's like,
Yeah,
that
they
worries
really
me for a multiplayer game, but also like, why not? Let's see how it works.
I just need to see, like, does it ruin your day? If you happen to be on the bad end of a nuke, like, are
What
you
does
just
that look
ruined
like?
forever?
like,
what
does your
is death
settlement
like for
get
you?
wiped out? The
Yeah.
enemies in the game also look awesome.
They
like the
do.
flying guy, the
Yeah.
weird blob looking thing.
There was
like
the sloth. There
there's
was
a
so
huge
many.
sloth.
So there's like
Giant
Disney.
sloth.
The enemies in this game look and I think this has to do with lore and how the setting and stuff, because this is way before Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. The
Yeah.
enemies look way different from those games. Even the jump from Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, like those games shared a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
And so it's shocking to see that I don't think I've seen like a similar kind of weird creature in this game that shared anything with the previous games.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah. I think I had one more thing I was going to bring up. Oh, as far as quests, because Todd Howard brought up questing, and you, Sean, you brought up Sea of Thieves also, which makes me think like, since this is an online game, are the quests going to work more like Sea of Thieves or Fallout 4? What do you guys think? Because I hated Sea of Thieves quests, if I'm being
So did
honest.
I mean, the precedent is that it would be Fallout 4.
Yeah.
But I guess like I'm just wondering like how much do you have to change for it to work in a shared world or
Yeah.
a co-op type of experience?
I mean, I feel like it
I'm
might
of the mind
go
that
the
it doesn't
MMO
have
route,
to.
like WoW route.
Yeah.
Everyone like
Yeah.
has the same NPCs, and you have different, updates on the quest. Like you might be 30 minutes ahead of me. You have a different task to do. You can come help me finish mine, so I catch up to you. I don't know. Like I feel like they could do that. Maybe.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
really
I
hope
can't wait to get my hands on it, man.
I just really hope it holds that same quality of, because that was when I heard this is online, the first thing that made me worry was like the quality of storytelling, because I come to Fallout for the world and for the story of the world. Like the story is my favorite. Like that's why I didn't really like building. I didn't really like all the extra stuff that comes that came in Fallout 4 that was announced for Fallout 76, because I just want a really cool post-apocalyptic story.
I agree with you, but maybe on a different angle though, Blessing. Because like to me, especially with Fallout 4, the through line story is not that strong, but the stories that pop up
the
within
side
the
quests
quest, like
and
miniature,
Yeah.
I feel like those miniature stories, short stories are really, really strong. So maybe that's a way for it to balance out. But I felt like the Institute in Fallout 4 ended up being underwhelming.
Yeah.
So, but it's all those little moments that we think about when Fallout that could really shine. And like, you don't need the mainline story in 76. You have like the start and that's it. And I feel like that's always the best part of Fallout games. Like the premise of them are really, really strong. And then for the little, like the short stories that pop up in a multiplayer sense could make this, and when you're sharing that with friends, could it make it stand up over and above other shared experience games that we've been playing?
That's a good point.
Well, I think that's gonna do it for the Bethesda conference, and that kind of wraps up our first day one reaction podcast. Sean, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you on the internet?
Holy crap, guys. Thank you so much for having me. They can find me on the internet at Sean Capri. Of course, it's Sean like Connery Capri, like the pants.
Perfect.
Awesome.
And of course, you host the Xbox Drive as well as We the Gamercast, and you're all over WeTheNerdy.com. Go check that stuff out. And then you can follow Brandon at RebelRed6 on the social medias. You can talk to Blessing this week on social media at Blessing Jr. You can talk to me at It's Van Aken. Don't forget, OKBeast has you covered all week long. E3 coverage going up every day. Videos, podcasts, articles, all on okbeast.com. And if you're listening to this podcast, we will see you tomorrow as we wrap up. Yeah, Square Enix, Ubisoft, PlayStation. It's going to be a good day. And then after that, Nintendo. So thank you so much for listening, and we will see you tomorrow.